Hey Matt, so Lauren does this thing where sometimes we'll be driving in the car. I'll be driving. She won't be driving. She'll be sitting in the other seat, you know.
Tell
And
me more.
yeah, as she will like we'll be like talking, or so you know how some people do that thing where they like if they need to focus, they'll like turn down the you need to see better, so you turn down the stereo.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I know that. I don't usually do that though.
Okay,
Like,
I am definitely guilty of that. But Lauren fucking does that even though she's not the one driving.
oh,
And,
she'll do it on your behalf.
and yeah, and not even that. Like she'll like maybe we'll be having a conversation or something, and like the music will be
Yeah.
playing, and she'll like turn down the music like a little bit, like a notch or two, and then like 5 or 10 minutes will go by or whatever, and then she'll turn it down like
And it's
another
still
couple
low.
notches. No, she'll like
Yeah.
turn it down more, and then like
Uh-huh.
by the end of the car ride, the music's at like fucking like level 2.
And it just never goes back up.
No, it drives me up the damn wall.
Oh my god.
It's the,
Does Lauren listen to our show?
I don't know. Well, here we'll find out.
I guess we'll find out because I'm about to dox her more. This reminds me of the time that you told me like when you're like the drive-through or whatever, and you're driving, and like she's in the passenger seat, and they give you the food, and you're like, "Thank you," and she feels the need to lean over and
Oh
go,
my
"Thank you."
God.
Also,
No, she'll be like, yeah, like have a nice day. Like you weren't even part of this interaction at all.
oh
You
my
don't know
god.
this person. At least I have like some level of like rapport that I've built with this
Oh,
individual over the past like
that,
3 minutes waiting in the drive-through.
I think it's so sweet though. Like okay, I can understand why you're like I don't get it, but at the same time I'm like she's such a nice, polite person. I just think it's so fucking funny that she's like I must also say thank you or my life is over.
Hey, that was what?
I feel like you've opened with that so many fucking
It's because
times.
it's from the Weekenders. Have you,
I'm keeping that. Go.
have you ever watched the Weekenders?
Yes, I have. I think we talked about it on the show.
Oh shit! Oh my god, we're just running in circles here. We're just doing the same show over and over.
I'm
We're gonna
keeping
lose
all this in.
all of our 4 listeners are gonna stop listening because it's just the
Four and
same
a half.
show over and over and over. Hold on,
Oh
four
my
and a
God.
half? Who's the half listener?
Um, it's the it's that guy who only tunes in for odd numbered episodes.
Oh my god, it's the yeah.
So unfortunately, he's not going to hear this one. But
Welcome to another episode of Super FX, the show where we sometimes pod, we sometimes cast, but we always record. I'm Tyler.
I'm Matt. What's up?
This is episode number 30, dude. Hey, we're back.
Yeah, man.
We went on a don't call it a hiatus, call it
The holidays are tricky, man.
holidays are tricky.
Yeah.
We went on sabbatical. We come back after
We come batical.
we come sabbatical, and here we are with a refreshed state of being.
Yeah.
A refreshed state of be. Oh my god, is there? There should be a Mr. Bean show called The State of Bean. Does that exist? I'm looking that up.
What is our show anymore?
Bean.
Can I make a confession?
Okay.
I've never seen anything Mr. Bean.
No, what?
Yeah. So I've
Really?
always wanted to, but I just never did. Ever since I was a kid, I never got around to it, and now just as an adult, I'm missing the bean.
Oh,
I still haven't seen anything.
You can't find the bean.
Yeah, I know. I can't find bean anywhere.
Okay, so it was always, I don't know if this was a Canadian thing because I think it's a British show, but maybe this was a Canadian thing, but it was like always on. You know, like you turn the TV on. This I know, like for you youngins out there, like Gen Z doesn't really get this, understand what this means to like channel surf. But like back in our day, you had
Oh
to
yeah.
like surf the channels. Now you just surf the net. You don't even do that anymore. There's no surfing to be had these days. Can't surf
Yeah, no,
anything.
it's it's too cold out to surf, and it's too technologically advanced to surf indoors either.
Yeah, no
So
one surfs. Anyway, so
yeah,
you would surf the channels, and like Mr. Bean was always on. Like you would always see Mr. Bean. So was that
yeah,
not
no,
the case
that's
for you?
not really. I mean, I'm sure that he was on here and there, but for the most part, no. He just like the thing that was on, like when I think of stuff that was like, oh, it was always on, stuff like fucking Looney Tunes that was always on somewhere,
Oh,
and
what? That's weird.
yeah. Because there were like 3 or 4 channels that ran Looney Tunes because it was in the public domain after a certain
Oh,
point. So it was on like
okay.
Cartoon Network, and it was on TBS, and it was on Boomerang, and it
Oh,
was on like fucking WB, which became CW, and now I don't think they do that anymore at all.
I think
So
we had a
like
grand
Looney
total.
Tunes was always on.
I think we had a grand total of 0 of those channels that you just listed. Uh,
Yeah.
but uh, what was I gonna say? Mr. Bean.
Yeah. Also,
That
forgive me, listeners, and also you, Tyler, if you can hear any ice clinking around. I'm drinking a Dr. Pep with ice because I'm feeling frisky today.
Wait, does frisky equal ice? Or to me, ice is like I was lazy and didn't put my soda in the fridge ahead of time, and so now I have to dilute it with ice to make it palatable.
No, see, the thing is, I don't usually like to put ice in a drink, even if it's warm, just because well, like you said, it dilutes it, which I don't like. And
Yeah,
also,
we are Dr. Pepper purists, and we like to
it, it,
enjoy our delicious beverage free of any impurities, in only the
it
most.
displaces volume in the glass. I want more soda, less ice. But Daddy needed a super fucking refreshing cold Dr. Pep this evening, so ice in drink.
Would you put? Hold on. So, did the Dr. Pepper come from the fridge?
Can.
When what? Did it come from the fridge? Did
Was
the
it a can?
can come from the fridge?
No.
What? What?
It's in the box of cans next to the fridge.
Did it come
What
from
the
the
fuck
can?
is so funny?
No, it came from the fridge.
Oh. Yeah, don't you know I have a fucking Dr. Pepper dispenser right on the fridge? I didn't use that. I used the can.
No, okay, so it was a can not in the fridge. Had the can been in the fridge, would you have then put ice into the glass?
No, probably not. In fact, almost definitely not. I would just
Okay.
drink it straight from the can.
But because it was warm, you decided to add ice.
Just this one time. Usually I don't even care if the soda's warm, but I
Are,
really
are
wanted a cold
people
drink.
who add ice to an already cold beverage, are those people maniacs or
I think that they are giving themselves too much of a good thing.
coldness?
Yeah, too much coldness in their life. Although for me, that's not a bad thing. I'm always a fucking furnace, so
Okay, well,
the
we've
more cold I can have in my life, the better. Would you like to talk about video games?
yeah, I was going to talk about Mr. Bean, but I think that ship is sailed. The SS Bean is long gone. It has left port, and it's on its way to Hawaii.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we can talk
So,
about video games.
Yeah, sure. It's been a little while since the last time we talked.
It has.
You and I spoke on Discord a little bit a couple weeks ago, but we didn't record. We were just kind of like catching up because we hadn't
Shooting
talked for a
the
while
shit,
because of the fucking
as they say.
because of the holidays really like screwed with my whole schedule and everything, and so I'm really glad to be back and talking with you. But now I need to catch up with you more. I have literally no idea what you've been up to the past couple weeks. Tell me.
Okay, so yeah, I also had holidays, so games were a little tough to fit in there, as it happens. However, since we last recorded, there have been a number of games that I have been playing.
Do tell.
Well, but okay, just briefly before I get into that, we didn't. I don't know if you want to do this. Most video game podcasts will do like a top 10 games of the year, or their favorite game of the year kind of thing, or
Oh
this is
yeah.
the top shit that I played. Um, because we are in the year of our Lord 2023 at this rate, and so 2022 has ended. That year boarded the SS Bean, and it's long gone. Uh,
Hmm.
I don't think that either of us are the type who, typically play all of the games that come out in a given year, you know. So
It
I don't
depends
think
on the game, but yeah.
I don't think either of us are really in the position to be like, "Oh, such and such was the best game of 2022 that came out in 2022," right? Like I don't think
Hmm.
either of us are in the position to make such a grandiose claim.
Hmm.
However, I do think that, we can probably both pick a game that we played in 2022 and say, is the best game that we personally played in 2022, regardless of the year it came out.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yes, I can totally get on board with that.
Okay, so for me, I mean, if you want, like, I think everybody knows what mine is. If you've listened to this show before, you'll know what my favorite game that I played this year is, because it's probably one of, if not my favorite game I have ever played.
Hmm.
It's the game that I played in 2022, and that's Tunic.
Hell yeah.
Tunic is, I mean, just go listen to our Tunic episode, but yeah, that shit still lives rent free in my mind. I think about that game almost every day.
Hmm.
To this day, I still think about it all the time, because I think it is absolutely a spectacular achievement in video games, and I think that if anybody, if you have an interest in video games, especially if you have an interest in retro games, specifically The Legend of Zelda, if you have any semblance of an interest in that kind of thing, you owe it to yourself to play Tunic. Don't look it up. Don't read anything about it. Just go and play it. It's on Game Pass. I think it's on like everything now at this rate. At this point, it's kind of made its way around the
Yeah.
schoolyard. So
Although
just
if you've been keeping up with this show, you've talked about it on the podcast before, so
yeah,
hopefully if you've been listening, you'll know a decent amount about it already, which
yeah,
has piqued your interest enough where you'd want to play it.
go play it. Yeah. What was Matt? What was your top game that you played in 2022?
So I have two answers, and it's a little bit difficult for me to choose one.
Okay.
In the last episode, I talked about finally playing Phoenix Wright, the original Phoenix Wright for DS, which I played in like September-ish. And earlier in the year, in February, I played Yoshi's Crafted World, which for some reason a lot of people didn't like, but I really loved it. I got really into it. I was like singing along with the music and making up my own lyrics while I was playing for the very first time, which is something I don't usually do unless I've played a game a lot and I'm really used to the soundtrack, but I got so into it that it was just like a really, really bopping time the entire time. But with Phoenix Wright, I got so absorbed in the story, I was playing like at 4 in the morning. I was sitting in bed playing, which is something I haven't done in a long time with a video game, except maybe like I'll break out my Neo Geo Pocket Color and play like fucking Puzzle Bobble Mini sometimes. But like that's how I can tell that a game has really resonated with me, when I can't stop thinking about it, or it makes me like incredibly jubilant
Oh yeah,
to play it.
yeah.
You know?
I feel the same way. I'll be like going through my day like at work or whatever, and I'll just like catch this fucking thing on my
Oh
mind.
man, I can't wait to get home and just play
Yeah.
that game.
Oh yeah.
Those are my two answers. I can't pick one. They were both incredible.
Wow. Those are. I'm surprised. I did not think that those were the games you were going to pick, but I'm glad you had such a.
Do you remember what I've played this year? Did you have something that you thought I was going to pick?
No, but it's just like thinking about the stuff that, even the stuff that came out this year. Like for instance, Kirby, Forgotten World, Forgotten Realm.
Oh, I mean, I loved that
Forgotten-
too.
Forgotten Land,
Don't get me
right?
wrong at all. I loved that game also.
Like in the realm of Kirby slash Yoshi games, I feel like they're in a similar kind of space. For me, like having played both of those games, like I don't know, for me, I feel like Forgotten Land is like definitely the one that I would think most fondly about looking back on.
Oh yeah.
Because that was definitely
Forgotten
like,
Land is definitely like a runner-up for me. Yeah.
okay, yeah,
That and Omori is another runner-up for me.
yeah. That's what I thought you were gonna say. But
Yeah,
yeah,
no, it's up there. It's up there. I definitely was like out and about giving lessons and like, oh, I just want to come home and play Omori. In fact, I liked Omori so much that I wanted to tell everybody about it. I wanted to tell all of my friends. Not like I didn't want to spoil it, but I wanted to tell them about my experience and I wanted them to play it. I was able to convince Jackie to give it a try, and she really liked it. And I told Rachel the story about it, and like it's so close. I have to give it to Phoenix Wright and Yoshi's Crafted World because I remember feeling on top of the fucking moon playing those games. You know?
Nice. Don't we love when a video game can make you feel that way?
Dude, I do love that. I really do.
Nice. All right, let's get this train chugging along.
Yeah, model trains are sick. Let's go.
Wow, that's a throwback. Okay, so here, I'm gonna talk about 3 games that I've played over the past, I don't know, a few months. And
I'm gonna talk about one because I've been so busy I haven't been able to play very much.
Yeah, that's fine. I have a feeling that the game that you're going to talk about is like a pretty grandiose big thing anyway, so we'll get to it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
All right, so the first one I want to go over is Bowser's Fury. So Bowser's Fury is the kind of a pack-in title when they re-released Super Mario 3D World on Switch back in, I want to say maybe 2018, 2019 or so. They added what I think a lot of people kind of just chalked up to being some DLC. They added Bowser's Fury.
It's essentially just like a little side story. It's not a mainline title, and it's not a spin-off either.
It's not really anything. It's kind of its own thing. It's not really a DLC.
It's like a little 3-hour romp. Yeah.
It's awesome. So the way that they did this like short ass little Mario adventure, like gave it its own world. It didn't have any of its own characters per se, but kind of had its own its own sense of style that borrowed, I think, from Mario 3D World a little bit, and also from maybe Mario Odyssey a little bit. Kind of like finds itself somewhere in the middle of there. Essentially, it's kind of like an oversized Mario 3D World stage. Except you have kind of complete 3D free roam ability. There's some challenges that you have to do, collect all like the little stars or whatever, and then you beat it. It's really good. I think it's really interesting that Nintendo did this kind of short Mario experience, because I can't think of another time that they may have done something like that. And I almost wish, while I was playing it, I kind of got I mean, like I said, like it took me maybe 3 hours to beat, and maybe like, I don't know, 5 hours to like 100% it. And the whole time I was playing it, I just kind of felt like, why wasn't this something like they could do something like this in kind of an episodic nature, right? Like if they just had this
I wonder if that's what they were going for.
I don't know.
Like trying to test the waters.
I don't know. Like if they had this platform, like here's the thing, I would pay, fucking $5 a month or whatever for them to release like these stages, like this, right? Where it's like you get this Mario stage and it's kind of an oversized Mario level. You're going to play it, for a handful of hours. And then next month you get another one, and it's like a new world. And then, like you can talk about it with your friends. All people online are all talking about the new Mario level that's out this month, right? And everybody's subscribing to it. Nintendo's raking in, buckets of cash, and everybody's playing the new. And so everybody, it's like like it's a fucking TV show. The new episode of Game of Thrones comes out, and everybody talks about it. I think that's just I feel like that would be a really smart way to handle this sort of thing especially when we're like between big mainline releases. Like Mario Odyssey came out 2017, 2018, and no sign of the new one anytime soon, right? A new 3D Mario game. And so it's like in between releases, if you do, I don't know, like 12 months of this, right? Do 12 levels, right? Of these games. And I mean, I'm like, color me a little ignorant as to how long it took them to build this game. But I feel like once you have the kind of the base foundation of it in place, like building another level or whatever is like, no small feat, but it's not building a whole new game. I don't know. Like, I feel like they really nailed this formula. It's not without its faults. Like, it has issues. It has some problems with the way that the kind of the villain obviously is Bowser. Spoiler alert. Bowser's Fury.
He's furious. Yeah.
He's mad. He gets big sometimes. And there's kind of like a little event. It's kind of like in Breath of the Wild where like the blood moon happens or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Except imagine that the blood moon happens like a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the kind of issue with this game is that it happens all the fucking time. It's like every 10 minutes.
It happens slowly at first, and then the more cat shines you collect, it happens like every fucking time.
Dude, it gets really annoying.
Like every other shine, and then like every shine, and you're just like, Jesus fucking Christ, I get it. The guy has fury.
Yeah, so it's not without its faults, but I don't know. Like I feel like this formula was just such a clever way of doing a Mario stage like that. And I feel like Nintendo has it in them to do something a little more concrete with it and just keep going. Because I mean, at this rate, like we're 45 years out of when this game even came out. So like I think that ship has sailed. It's on the SSB. But I don't think it's gonna happen. But damn, like what a great way to like tell these little short stories. I wish they would do more of them.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that just one thing I wanted to say about Bowser's Fury. Actually, I guess it's 1.5 things. Is I really appreciate
where all these half things coming from.
Listen, man, I count in halves. Okay, it really helps me feel better about myself, especially things that are tiny in my life. Anyway, there's something to be said about tiny little, like almost non-games like this, where it's an experience, but it's like. If you released this on its own for $60, there would be hell to pay.
Right.
But I loved Bowser's Fury so much when I played it that, yeah, $60 is definitely not worth the experience, but it's still a worthy experience to play. Even if you've already played Mario 3D World or don't have any care in the world to play 3D World, Bowser's Fury is just so fucking cool. I would get the game just for Bowser's Fury, and essentially that's what I did because I 100%ed 3D World on Wii U.
Yeah.
By myself, by the way. Like a mad person. I had to beat every stage with every character 1,000 fucking times. But, I absolutely loved Bowser's Fury. To my knowledge, this is just a little tiny, like, thing that intrigues me, linguistically speaking. To my knowledge, I believe it's the only Mario game of any kind that has Mario as the protagonist, but his name is not in the title. Can you think of another one?
I'm gonna ruminate on that and get back to you.
Yeah, I don't think there is. Anyway,
yeah.
So yeah, that's Bowser's Fury. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. Shut up.
That's Bowser's Fury. It is interesting. Like I said, I hope we get more of this kind of thing. Nintendo just needs to like fucking like do some like interesting stuff. Like. I feel like Nintendo's at its best when it does like the weird shit, like the stuff that doesn't fit in with the formula. It's not the mainline Mario game. It's not the mainline Zelda game. It's not, Mario Kart number whatever.
Tingles, Rosy Rupee Land.
Yeah, like I mean, I get that that's the stuff that doesn't make them money. Like I get that Bowser's Fury was probably not the thing that was raking buckets of cash. Like it wasn't that, but I think it's. I don't know. I think there's something to be said for these like small experiences that they just need to do more of, because I feel like that's what really keeps like kind of your core player base with Nintendo. I don't know. Maybe I'm off on that, but I feel like the most interesting stuff from Nintendo comes when they do this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
we got to move along.
Agree.
I want to talk about the second. I'm going to jump down the list here. I'm going to talk about the second, I guess, kind of game that I've been playing that's kind of grabbed my attention lately. And it's a mobile game. It's a mobile game. I don't really talk much about mobile games because I'm not much of a mobile gamer. I don't really do mobile games. Typically, when you play a mobile game, you get like fucking like get all of the coins to get the gems and then wait an hour and then build your next house with the gems and then spend 5
Here's
hours.
An ad. Here's a second ad.
Yeah,
Press the X. Oh man, you accidentally hit a little bit too far to the left of the X. Looks like you're going to the App Store, Jimbo.
Yeah, it's like mobile games are historically there's some there's some good there, but there's very little good in the mobile
Yeah.
game market. And so a few months ago, there was a game released by. Did you ever play Hearthstone, Matt? Hearthstone, the Blizzard card
Oh yeah,
game,
yeah.
like
The Blizzard Magic the Gathering. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, exactly. So Hearthstone, I was big on that. When I was in university, I was really big into Hearthstone. I liked that game a lot. As it turns out, the individual who was kind of the leading force behind Hearthstone left Blizzard, a number of years ago, and he's been working on his own game with his own team. It's a mobile game for iPhones and Android phones, and I think it's available on PCs as well.
Yeah.
And it's like Hearthstone, a collectible card battler. And they were making this game, and the way I understand it is at some point down the road they were like, hey, we got to sell this game. How are we going to sell this game? And NetEase came in, and NetEase is a Chinese company who specializes in mobile games. They helped Blizzard with their Diablo Immortal mobile kind of spin-off of Diablo, which got kind of middling reviews. So NetEase comes in and says, hey, we'll help you kind of publish, sell this game, but you got to put Spidey in it. Spidey, Captain America, they all got to be in it because that's how we're going to sell it. And so Marvel Snap was born.
Oh my god.
Marvel Snap.
Marvel Snap is.
Marvel Snap is.
This happens every time. You and I. The fucking show notes.
Is there a problem, Matthew?
You wrote. You wrote Marv Lewis's afternoon rest.
Yeah.
And now I'm just like, oh, I get it. Marvel's nap.
Marvel's Nap.
Talk about the game. Talk about the game.
I'm trying to here. So Marvel Snap is a iOS Android PC card battler, very similar to Hearthstone. There are two things about this game that I absolutely adore. One is that it takes about, I don't know, 3 minutes, maybe 2 minutes to play a match. That's it. These are not 10-minute matches. These are not 5-minute matches. It's a bathroom break kind of thing.
Yeah.
In addition to that, it plays exclusively in portrait mode. It is not a landscape. You do not have to turn your phone or use two hands to play this game. Ooh. You can play this game.
It really is a bathroom game.
One-handed. It absolutely is. And I think this is, quintessential mobile game. I feel like this is what mobile games really need to get better at doing. There have been a handful of good mobile games that do this kind of thing previously, but I think that this is where mobile really shines, is for these like really, really short, quick, easy, experiences where you don't have to like turn the phone sideways, boot up a thing, watch an ad, play the game, load into the chapter, like that's not a mobile game experience. If it takes me more than 30 seconds to get into a match, hell, if it takes me more than 10 seconds to get into a match, like there's probably something wrong. If with a mobile game, like it's got to be quick, it's got to be easy, you got to be able to do it in a snap. So in Marvel Snap, there are
nice.
three lanes that you play into, and each lane you can play your cards, and each lane has a different effect that gets revealed as the game progresses. The interesting kind of namesake feature of the game is at any point in the match, you can snap, which what it basically does is a kind of a double or nothing mechanic. It's kind of almost like a betting mechanic where you can, at the end of each battle, you get a certain amount of, I don't know what the fuck, like points, gems, levels, tokens. I don't know. You get
currency.
It's more like XP.
Okay.
And the XP that you get from it, you will either gain or lose, depending if you win or lose the match. And you can kind of double or nothing it. So, if we're going into the final turn, I can snap, which then means I will win 4 and you will lose 4 XPs, rather than it being 2, for instance. If we both snap, then we both think that we're going to win, right? And then that the ante is upped to 8. in that final turn.
Ooh.
You can also retreat if you don't think you're going to win and your opponent snaps and you're like, oh shit. So it's almost like a bluffing tactic, right? Like at some point in the game you can snap even if you don't think you're going to win in an attempt to convince your opponent that you think that you're going to win, and so
Right.
perhaps that they will retreat ahead of time and you will be spared from losing a whole bunch of XP because you aren't going to win, right?
Yeah. That's very
it-
interesting, actually.
It's super interesting.
Yeah.
It's super, there's obviously there's going to be some of that mobile gaminess in there. Like there's microtransactions. You can buy the gold, you can buy some extra cards, you can buy some cosmetic. The vast majority of stuff that you can do in there is cosmetic. It's very difficult. It's possible, but very difficult to get ahead by paying money. You would have to pay
That's
an
good.
exorbitant amount to really like get ahead mechanically in the game. The vast majority of the microtransactions are cosmetic. Very beginner friendly. Like I said, the matches are really really quick. Like for the record, I'm somebody who could give a whole. I I don't care about Marvel all that much. It's fine. I don't mind it. I don't stick my nose up at it or anything like that. But I don't know who these characters are. I don't care about them. Like Spider-Man's cool. I'll watch a Spider-Man movie, but I'm not, I don't fucking care. So the fact that I don't give a shit about Marvel and I'm still enjoying this game as much as I am, I feel like speaks quite a bit to the quality of the actual gameplay itself. If you can
Yeah.
get yourself past the mobile gaminess of it, I think it's really worth spending some time with. It's a lot of fun. If you liked Hearthstone at all, it's worth playing. It's quite enjoyable. Really one of the best mobile games that I played. So
That's really good to hear, honestly, because I find myself not enjoying most mobile games, and the ones that I do enjoy, they keep shutting down. Like, I remember back in the day when you talked about Dr. Mario World.
Oh
And,
yeah.
I loved that game, and it's gone. It's gone.
Well,
Goodbye.
you're in luck. Marvel Snap, came out just a few months ago. I think it came out in August, maybe, and it's picking up a lot of steam from what I've heard. From what I've read, it sounds like it's doing better than they expected it to be, and for good reason. It's a good fucking game.
Yeah.
So definitely would recommend giving a try. Marvel Snap. I've got one more game I want to touch on here before
Yeah.
I hand the mic over to you.
You handed over to me to talk for 3 seconds about the one game I've been playing.
I'm sure you got more talking than that. I know. I'm sure you do. You got a lot of
I have something I want to talk about later. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. Well, I'll wrap up my speaking time, my time with the talking bear. I want to talk about a game that I did not expect to play. So at the beginning of the year, I sometimes do this thing where I look at my backlog and I think about games that I haven't played, games that I probably should have played by this point in my life, games that might be coming out this year, maybe games that came out recently that I haven't gotten around to yet. And I think about games that there's a number of games that are high up on that list. I'm like, okay, man, I gotta play this.
Yeah.
And this game was a game that I did not expect to play. It was not anywhere on that list. I was watching the 2022 year in review video from My Life in Gaming.
Oh yeah.
And
Where they talk about like all the games that they played in 2022.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
And Corey was talking about what a good time he had with the Yakuza series
Yeah.
in 2022. And the Yakuza series was something that was just like never really on my radar at all. I played games long enough that it was on my radar. Those games came out. It was always one of those things that you'd see at the video game rental store for a couple years, or on the shelf of a GameStop or whatever. And I just I didn't have any interest in it. I didn't look into it that much. But he spoke very highly of them, and he had not played. He was kind of in the same position as me. And so fast forward a couple days, I had a friend over. We were kind of hanging out, flipping through Game Pass, as you do, seeing what's on there lately. And Yakuza comes up. I see it. I kind of scroll a little bit past it, and my friend is like, no, dude. Yakuza 0, that game is awesome. And I'm like, hold on, like multiple people have been saying like, hey, the Yakuza games are good. Why, what's up with this? I don't know. What's that thing where you just like keep hearing about the same thing over and over in a short period of time? You're like, what's going on?
Oh, a Bader-Meinhof syndrome.
What? What?
Yeah, I just know what that is. Don't worry.
Okay, so I got Bader Meinhof into Yakuza
Yeah.
0. So here I go playing Yakuza 0.
So tell me.
So I had, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, hold on. Am I playing the right game first? Because the Yakuza series, if you aren't familiar, has, I think like 8 mainline games at this point, starting with
and
one
doesn't
through...
it have like an overarching story, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
To my understanding, for the most part, yes. 1 through 6. Then there was Like a Dragon, is I think the most recent one, which I think is technically number 7 or maybe even number 8. There might be another kind of spin-off one in there. At some point along the line, I want to say in 2016 or so, they released Yakuza 0, which is kind of a prequel to the rest of the games, but it's not a necessary, like, it's not prequel in that it's like an origin story. It's a little bit more like it's a, imagine if they just did another one, but it happened before the original one.
Beforehand.
Yeah. It's like that.
Right.
And so I did a quick little Google search about like, hey, which Yakuza game should I play first? Everyone's like, play 0 first. I'm like, okay, here I go. Yakuza 0, the Yakuza series I'd always kind of written up to be like, oh, it's a Grand Theft Auto clone. It's,
No way. I've heard people say that it's like a spiritual successor to Shenmue almost.
It is. Oh, I kept thinking that. I haven't even played Shenmue, and I've thought a lot about that.
Well, I've told you a lot about Shenmue.
Yeah,
on this very
and
show.
this entire time I'm playing this game, I'm like, is this what Shenmue is like? So, Yakuza is a open world, no cars. You're on foot, but open world JRPG brawler, I would say, where you basically are a ex-member of the Yakuza, and you are kind of seeking revenge about some Yakuza members who have done you wrong, / trying to get to the bottom of some mysteries that are going on. There's also a kind of a secondary story or a second story where you play a different character in a different section of Japan. His section is in Osaka. The original one is in Tokyo. He is a also ex-Yakuza member who's kind of trying to get back into the game. And you kind of, do some missions and follow along the story, and some like absolutely wacky, wild things kind of happen along the way, as it were. The trailers and all of the kind of like gameplay footage of this had always made me feel like this was just kind of a gritty beat 'em up. You're fighting bad guys. You're dealing with the gangs. You're in the Japanese mafia kind of thing. And that's, I think, why I was so turned off about it. My friend who told me to play it was like, hey, go on YouTube, search this thing, and watch this video. And it's a video of one of the characters from this game just like singing karaoke and doing like an absolute ridiculous dance on roller skates while singing karaoke. And I'm like, hold the phone. This game is maybe not what I thought it was.
Yeah, game's very Japanesey. It has like this gritty exterior, but when you get into it, you're like, oh, okay.
It's basically what you'd get if you crossed like the anger of Grand Theft Auto, but with like the wacky kind of easternness of like Final Fantasy. So I guess what I mean by that is like, like imagine like scenes from Final Fantasy, any scene from Final Fantasy series that has like a Moogle in it, and like it's kind of wacky and silly. It's like you get a lot of that, but you also get like these dudes bashing each other's skulls in, and there's like blood flying everywhere. You're like beating somebody with a bicycle. And
that's like exactly what Shenmue feels like. There's like the game's mostly serious, but there's like these scenes where it's like, oh, okay, this is totally Japanese. It's very anime inspired.
Oh, but
totally
the thing about Yakuza is it totally knows it's being silly. Like, right? Like it's not just like...
That's the difference. Yeah, Shenmue I don't think is aware that it's silly at times.
Oh, Yakuza absolutely knows it's being silly, but it's like got so much heart in it. Like you have these moments, like actual, like like tearful, like emotional moments, like heart-wrenching moments. And then like
Yeah.
10 minutes later you're like fucking like helping this dominatrix be a better dominatrix while there's the children in a playground watching you teach her how to like it you know, and it's fucking like so silly. It
Yeah.
toes the line between like you being just like this badass dude who's kicking ass and you know, but like also like being like wild and bombastic and hilarious, and like you never really know what to expect because it toes this line so well. Like
Yeah.
there, you know, it's absolutely like bonkers how well it does this. It's it you know, there's some difficulty in terms of you got to get past the kind of Japanesey RPG elements of it. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't know how to describe it. You All the menu buttons that you select make a ridiculous kind of like loud chiming sound effect when you select things, like a Final Fantasy game would. Uh, all of the side quests is like you learn this person's entire life story because they want you to come and help them with like a fucking film shoot, and because the producer didn't show up, so they get you to put on this like stupid costume. You know, you run to the other side of the map to collect the costume, you put on the costume, you run back, you're like helping out with this film shoot. You know, like it's like this all these like wild, absolutely like weird side quests that go on. And there's charm in that, but I also think like there's, to some extent, you got to get past that to really enjoy it. You know, and most of that stuff is skippable anyway, but the story still does a good job of like putting you in these weird situations as well. Like very early on in the game, there's a karaoke mission that is like integral to the story. You have to do it, you can't skip it, kind of thing. And so it kind of introduces itself very, I think, very smartly in that way of like, hey, you're playing this game, you've just kicked some ass, right? You know that that's what this is
Right.
about, but like look at this other shit that's also gonna go down, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
there's
I
it's a great hook into
I
that.
constantly see like memes on Facebook, especially shared by my friend Laura from the forum, about Yakuza, and it's gotten me really interested to give it a
Dude,
shot.
who the
I
fuck? Where was I? No one told me about this.
So like I don't know. I like no one was telling me either, really. I've known about it being a collector and a historian for so long. I own one Yakuza game. I have Yakuza 3 for PlayStation 3, which I bought with you. Do you remember when we went to my buddy Shagan's house, to his like sweaty attic, and
Oh
we bought all his
yeah,
games? I bought that with you.
yeah.
Um and I still haven't played it. I want to, but
Wait, didn't I buy Shenmue then too?
I think you may have.
I think I did.
I can't remember.
That's fucking weird.
Listen, if you like Yakuza, then you'll like Shenmue. I mean, you seem to have been interested in Shenmue from what I've told you here on the podcast. So,
Dude, you got to play Yakuza 0. It's good.
all right.
It it's on. I'm playing. I don't own it. I'm playing it on the PlayStation, whatever, PlayStation Game Pass.
PlayStation's Game Pass.
Yeah, whatever the fuck that thing's called.
I don't know what it's called.
Yeah, that's I'm playing it on that. It's runs perfectly fine. It's good.
Hell yeah.
It's a PS3 game that was like,
Yeah.
it came out on PS3 in Japan, and then it came out on PS4 in the West, and so it very much feels like a PS3 game. Like there's some big heavy rain vibes sometimes
Oh,
of just
yeah.
like the facial animations and things like that. So just buckle up for that, and if you know, you'll be good.
Oh, I'm buckled. I'm buckled. That's a series I will get into at some point.
Yeah.
I feel a little daunted to get into it because I've been told that it's even more expansive than Shenmue, which is already expansive as hell.
Throw away your collector hat. I know that's hard, but you just got to do it because from what I've read, 100%ing it is like 150 hours or
I've
something
done worse than that. The
I
thing
know,
is,
but
we've talked
Matthew,
about
this is
before,
the
right? Like,
zeroth game in a series of fucking like 7.
I don't 100% games on the first playthrough, so don't worry.
Yeah.
That's
From
the
what I've read,
second
it sounds like the story is going to take me about like 30 to 40 hours, which I'm game for. I am not going to
Yeah.
play all 150 hours to 100% it. I also don't know if I'm gonna play the rest of the games anytime soon. I feel I feel like my attention span for this sort of thing is probably capped after 40 hours of one of them, and then
Yeah.
maybe in a few months / years time I'll decide to play the next ones, maybe question mark, because like that's a lot of JRPG to get through in one go.
Yeah.
but dude, I'm just like so glad that I finally have this knowledge of what the fuck these games are about because, man, my life is better for it.
I'm really glad. Dude, listen to you. You're playing a video game. That's what we do here.
It is.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it. In fact, I just listed off 3 video games, and you're about to list off.
I'm about to list off half of one.
Oh, okay. Oh, I want to hear it.
Yeah.
You and your halves.
Yeah, I've been playing. So, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 came out just last year, and everybody jumped on the bandwagon, and they were like, "Oh my god, it's so fucking good." A lot of people I know who played Xenoblade 1 and were disappointed by 2 said that 3 was even better than 1, and I was like, "Really? That's insane to me."
Hold on, for reference, you liked 1, you liked 2?
I loved Xenoblade 1. So 2 is the one I'm playing right now because I want to play 2 before I move on to 3.
I hear you.
At the insistence of both Max and Rachel, I am playing through Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which I was going to play through anyway, but they were like, "Fuck the randomizer, play Xenoblade 2 right now." I was like, "Well, I got 2 people on my ass to play Xenoblade 2. I guess I gotta." So, I'm really liking the experience so far. Because of the holidays, I haven't had the chance to really sit down and play it too much, but what I've played of it so far, I'm really enjoying. However, I have complaints. They're not game-breaking complaints, they're not deal-breakers, they don't ruin the experience for me, I just kind of wish they weren't there. To start with, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 really doesn't feel like it's in the same series as Xenoblade Chronicles 1.
I've heard that. Does it? Okay. Does it feel? Did you play X?
No, and it's Cross, by the way. It's not X.
Oh, is it? What?
Yeah.
Why does nobody tell me these things?
Yeah, it's Xenoblade Chronicles Cross. I'm sorry to be a pedant about it, but
it
is. It's Cross.
You know how they released Chrono Cross and they didn't. It's not fucking Chrono X.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the letter X, but it's pronounced Xenoblade Chronicles Cross.
Oh my god! Next, you're gonna tell me that it's Dracula Cross, not Dracula X.
Yeah, dude, there are people who are saying like Final Fantasy X, like still to this day, and I'm like,
Final Fantasy Cross.
It's Final Fantasy X. Their games are all numbered. Stop.
Basically, if a game has an X in the title, it's a crapshoot as to how to say it. Might be X, might be 10, might be Cross. You don't know. You don't know. You're just going to make an ass out of yourself no matter what.
Do you remember that game that came out for, I think it was 3DS? Or maybe it was DS, I can't remember. It was Project X Zone.
You mean Project 10 Zone?
It's Project Cross Zone. So same shit.
Okay. My question was going to be...
Yes.
Xenoblade Chronicles X 10 Cross was kind of a spin-off of the series.
Yes.
And people were kind of upset at how different it was from the standard series.
Yeah.
Does 2 kind of feel like that? Does 2 kind of feel like a departure from? I mean, I guess by the point that 2 came out, there wasn't exactly a standard for what these games are.
No, there wasn't. But I will say that it feels enough like Xenoblade 1 that you're like, okay, yeah, this is Xenoblade 2. But it feels different enough from Xenoblade 1 where you go, is this Xenoblade 2? It's really hard to describe. Like, it still has a lot of the same core elements. There's, like, switchable party members, and there are arts, which are in the first game as well. There's, like, weapons experience points and, like, skill points and stuff like that. That was all stuff that was in Xenoblade 1. So it feels like a natural progression of the series in that way. But the characters are really different. All of the, like, settings are different. The story is totally different, and as far as I can tell so far, has absolutely no connection whatsoever to Xenoblade 1.
So what I'm hearing is that this is Final Fantasy 2 to Final Fantasy 1.
Right, I was just about to say, that's not unheard of in a gigantic JRPG series, is for the separate entries to be completely disparate from each other.
Right.
It's just, I'm surprised at, for the second entry in this major series, Nintendo isn't usually well known for doing that. The only series I can think of that is like that is like Fire Emblem, where there are a couple of direct sequels, but mostly it's different characters, different land, completely different story with no relation to the others.
Yeah.
This is unusual for a Nintendo product. It's still a great game, though. That's a minor complaint. My second minor complaint is everything's fucking slow. Everyone talks really slowly. Sifting through menus is really, really slow. Instead of like a very quick, like, pull up this button and here's your equip menu, you have to go into like submenu upon submenu upon submenu to get to like a specific thing that you want to look at. Like, if I want to equip certain items to certain party members, I have to pause the game, go to characters, go to that specific character, which is not as simple as just a menu. No. Instead of being like a drop-down menu where you have a list of characters, you have to scroll through each character one at a time, then select that character themselves instead of their weapon, because you can select their weapon separately. Then you get a submenu for that character, which is just a list instead of a scroll, thank goodness. And then there's a submenu inside of that submenu inside of the fucking character submenu. And I just want to fucking put an item on my character. Why is this so complicated?
Oh my god.
It's easy to understand. It's just really slow. And the only other minor complaint that I have about Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is, I really don't like the map. There are only 3 ways to look at the map when you're in-game. You can look at the map all you want in the map menu. That's great. But when I'm moving around, there are only 3 ways to look at the map. 2 zoomed in, 2 zoomed out, and oh god, why the fuck is this covering the whole screen? Now I can't see where I'm going.
I hate that
shit. And I'm just like, well, fuck. Like, I know where to go, but at the same time, it's like, oh, Jesus Christ. The game does a very good job of mitigating this by giving you markers where you have to go, similar to like a Crazy Taxi, where it's just like, here's where to go, follow this arrow, right? So you don't even have to technically listen to the story at all to get through the game. Just keep following the pink markers. Not that I would do that. I'm liking the story so far a lot, actually. I love the characters. But the map system is still necessary because the pink marker will only show you the general direction where to go, and it'll tell you if it's above or below your current elevation. But you still have to look at the map to know how the hell to get there. And I don't like the map. It's very... It's easy to understand when you're looking at it, but looking at it is the problem. I don't want to have to stop the game every, 45 seconds to pull up the main map where I can zoom at my leisure. There's a mini-map right there in the corner. Why can't it just have, a lot of different zoom options? It has 3 bad options. They're all bad. I hate all of them.
So, what I'm hearing is that you're enjoying it, but not as much as 1.
Yeah, I loved 1.
Does it feel now
really liking 2, but...
like a bit of a grind to get through 2 so to finally be able to play 3?
Well, the thing is, I am enjoying my experience. I don't feel like I'm just getting through it to play 3. I know that that's kind of the main drive behind why Max and Rachel told me I should play 2, so that I could finally play 3 and experience it, since it's better than 1 in everyone's opinion. But I'm still enjoying the experience of just playing 2 for what it is, instead of just a pass between. I just have some problems with it.
That's fair enough. I thought... Yeah. I played, 2 hours maybe of Xenoblade 1, and it was like... Eh.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I still love Xenoblade 1. It's fantastic. If I had played it last year, it probably would have been my favorite game of last year, but I played it in 2021. So, nope.
Yeah. Man, those battles were just, I don't know.
I love it. I love action RPGs. Ones that, you have to think on your feet and everything like that. I love that shit. Oh, wait. Speaking of... There is actually one other minor complaint that I have with the game, and I'll make this brief. It's actually really important. I'm surprised I didn't mention it first. The game doesn't do a good job of teaching you about itself. It has a tutorial system, but it doesn't tell you enough. Essentially, it boils down to hey, your character has specials. Press this button during this meter to do the special. Also, it does extra things, but you'll figure it out. I'm like, no, I won't. I have no fucking idea. And so, I've actually taken to whenever the game pops up with a tutorial text box, I'm like, you know what? Mash through this and look up a walkthrough for the walkthrough to explain the tutorial to me better than the game itself. And doing that has actually significantly enhanced my experience. The tutorials in the game don't teach you enough. You can get through the game with the tutorials they give you, but you'll struggle a lot more than if someone just said, hey, by the way, this extra thing about the tutorial. You know?
Yeah, I definitely feel like JRPGs kind of do that sometimes. Whenever I've had
This game
that problem,
does it poorly. It does it really badly.
Whenever I've had that problem, it's kind of been in a JRPG. There's been a handful of things in Yakuza that I've had to like Google just to make sure that I've like understood this correctly. You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But yeah,
Hey,
that's pretty much all I wanted to say.
we're chugging along in this episode. I just looked at the clock and I'm like, oh fuck. So
Yeah.
we kind of talked earlier. We're probably not going to do any gamer news this week.
Yeah, there really isn't anything to talk about.
I mean, we say that our listeners right now are like, what the fuck? Like, you guys have been away for 3 months, and you're telling me there's no news, like nothing happened in those 3. I mean,
the thing is, like,
if y'all want, we can
the
talk
stuff
about
happened
something
from
that
3
came
months
out.
ago.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
it's
if you
old
re-
news at this point.
You know, leave a comment down below if you really want us to talk about something that happened in fucking like October. But otherwise,
Did you know
I think,
Stephanie McMahon left the wrestling?
yeah, I heard about that.
That's her name, right?
I think so.
But yeah, no gamer news with a Z. You got your Z earlier when Tyler said Gen Z in like the first 6 minutes of the episode. So, yeah,
Everybody gets one.
Ew, I don't like Spidey. I'm not a Marvel fan. There was one other thing I wanted to talk about though before we end the episode. I'll make this as quick as I possibly can. I'll talk about it more next episode, but I just wanted to mention I went to MagFest again.
Yeah, you did.
And you didn't fucking come again.
No, I didn't. Hey, look,
What's your excuse this time?
I've got a wedding and a honeymoon coming up, like in some few short months here.
Yeah.
And
Was
those
it this past month where fucking
No,
MagFest was?
but those
Yeah, that's
are
what I fucking thought.
expensive things to do.
I know. I'm kidding. That's more important. I would feel the exact same way. Nothing.
Next year.
I love video games very much, but nothing is more important than
Next
than
MagFest,
my
probably.
love. You fucking better bring Lauren too.
We'll
We'll
try.
have a huge party.
Tell me about
But yeah, I went to
23 MagFest.
Sure, it was really good, but it was not as good as some previous years. I feel like the panels were a little lacking this year. I still had a wonderful time. A lot of people on the Facebook MagFest groups that you and I follow were saying that this year they were having a lot of problems with staff, which is unusual.
Oh.
Usually Mag staff is really good and friendly and like progressive, but this year they were being kind of shitty. I don't know the like major specifics of it, but I will say that I was spurned a little bit by Mag staff this year. We lined up for the Throne Controllers panel, and then while we were all lined up, Mag staff came over and forced us to reform the line from a different place. And so people who were in back of the line that had first formed were suddenly in front. And guess who the fuck was actually in front before the line reformed?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's
we ended
brutal.
up in like the middle of the line / like towards the back instead of in the front where we were when everybody first lined up. I don't understand why they forced us to reform the line. I really don't understand why they made us reform the line.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as it goes, I guess, with volunteer run for the most part, events like that, I suppose, but still, like, not the kind of thing you want to hear, I guess.
No, definitely not. But the main reason I wanted to bring up MagFest, I'll tell stories about Mag next time if we have time.
Sure.
And I'm sure we will. But this time I wanted to talk about what I bought, because this is the collections part of the podcast. So, I have my backpack here with me, if you'll probably hear me rifling through it. But I wanted to talk about a couple of the major things I got. Not everything, because there are some commons in here.
Yeah,
But,
I want to hear.
Sure. To start with, every single day of MAG this year, thank you very much, Rachel. She tasked me with buying a specific game that met a specific criterion every day of MAG. So day 1 was I had to get a Genesis game. Day 2 was an Atari 5200 game. Turns out nobody was selling any, so she
I was
changed her
going to say,
mind.
I would have been surprised if you found only one.
Yeah, she changed her mind to Super Nintendo, and then day 3 was GameCube, and day 4 was not a specific console, but a pre-1995 game that had to do with dinosaurs. And so I got all 4 of those. The Genesis game was Gargoyles. Really good game. The not 5200 but instead Super Nintendo game was Separation Anxiety, which I had wanted for a long time.
Oh,
Spider-Man
nice,
and
yeah.
Venom. The GameCube game was SSX Tricky, the foil edition
so
instead of like the
good.
regular ass edition.
So good.
Hell yeah. And the pre-1995 dinosaur game was Jurassic Park 2, The Chaos Continues. So hell yeah.
All right, right on.
Yeah. I got Space Harrier for TurboGrafx 16.
Oh, nice.
Really hard to find, mostly because
yeah.
it's on TurboGrafx 16, but it's also one of the rarer games on the console anyway.
I love me some Space Harrier.
Hell yeah! I used to sit and play Space Harrier all the fucking time in an arcade that was near my house growing up as a child before I even understood what it was. So
Yu Suzuki, man. Yu Suzuki comes up again. Second time in this episode.
Yep. The man who made Shenmue / Yakuza. He comes up all the time. I got Mickey fucking Mania for Sega CD.
I didn't even know
which
that
is the
existed.
rarest. Yeah, which is the rarest version of it. It's complete because it's a Sega CD game. I wouldn't buy it any other way. But to be honest, the thing I'm most happy that I got is Hattress on NES.
Wow.
It's a staple of the library, and I was missing it.
Hadn't had it already.
Exact. That's precisely why I was excited to finally find it. Somebody had it for a really good price.
Nice.
Other than that, another one I was really excited to get was The Ooze for Sega Genesis,
yes.
which is a game I've been looking for since my childhood. When I was younger, my mom bought me one of those like plug and play, like 6-in-1 Sega Genesis things. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
And it had The Ooze on it, and I played it one day on a whim, and I
Hold
really
on,
liked
the
it.
Ooze was one of the 6?
Yeah, it was Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Alex Kidd in the Enchanted Castle, Echo the Dolphin, Columns, Gain Ground, and The Ooze.
Wow. For Secret Santa, my buddy Nick got me Booger Man on Genesis.
Oh, dude, I love that game.
Which, is basically the sequel to the Ooze. Or maybe the Ooze is the sequel to Booger Man. Basically the same game.
Are you calling it Booger Man on purpose?
What do you call it? Booger?
Booger Man, yeah.
Oh, that's the New York in you.
Yeah, do Canadians say booger?
Yeah, yeah.
Are you fucking me? If you have, like, a
Canadians
snot
in the
loogie?
comments, sound off. It's a booger.
Are you serious? Canadians, when you have a snot loogie, you say booger.
Yeah, what are you? I feel like you're fucking with me.
I'm not. No, I swear to God, it's the O like in look and book. It's booger. I've never heard anyone say booger. I thought you were fucking with me, like how we say banana mania.
No fucking way, man.
You're fucking with me.
Okay, I'm gonna poll every single individual that I know personally, all of them. I'm gonna poll all of them. And
how do I know they're not all just gonna be fucking like, oh yeah, let's all prank Matt. He's dumb and Jewish.
Next episode, I'm coming. I'm coming back and I'm gonna let you know what the. I just looked up rhymes with booger.
Yeah, what comes up?
Yeah. Things like sugar.
Yeah, sugar rhymes with booger because it's
Hookers.
sugar. Hookers. Hooker doesn't
Hookers.
rhyme with booger. It doesn't have the same fucking. That velar consonant is different. Language. Anyway, I bought video games. That's all I wanted to talk about. Thanks so much. That's the end of our show. Hi, it's me. I'm ending the show. To learn more about
do.
SuperFX, yeah, guys, visit our website, superfxpodcast.com. You can find our show wherever you find your other favorite podcasts, including Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Follow us on social media. We're on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, at SuperFX Podcast. That includes YouTube, by the way. The URL is /@SuperFX Podcast, because YouTube. Reach out with any comments or questions on social media, and you can send us an email, too. We're hi@superfxpodcast.com. Also, we're high to think that it's pronounced booger. It's hi@superfxpodcast.com.
Booger@superfxpodcast.com.
If you send an email to booger@superfxpodcast.com, I'll make sure it redirects to hi@superfxpodcast.com. If you like what we're doing and you'd like to support us, please consider doing what Rachel is doing and become a patron at patreon.com/superfxpodcast. If you're listening on YouTube, dude, please please subscribe, leave a comment. I'm begging you. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, I'm begging you, please help us out by rating and reviewing our show. We really need it. I need to eat. Special thanks
is
to
our
Kenny
only
Martin for
source
our
of
theme song. Hey, Kenny Martin, thanks a lot for our theme song. You can find him at Kenma, that's KENMA.bandcamp.com. And as always, guys, thanks to you. Thanks for bearing with us while we were on sabbatical, but now we're batical. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Goodbye.